Hello and welcome to this video. My name is Kata and I'm talking today about being in the present moment and what that really should be about and what that feels like and how to kind of even identify whether you're in the present moment at any given moment or not. And one of the first ways that I have identified in my own life about how to be in the present moment is by simply pausing and observing. So in order for me to determine whether I'm even here right now, whether I'm in the actual present moment, or whether I'm outside of myself, or whether I'm in the past or future, the only way to actually determine is by pausing. Simply stopping either what you're doing, especially if you're not feeling good, or you're upset about something, but just pausing and observing. So I'm going to give you an example. This morning, I woke up with, I'm not sure why exactly, but I woke up with a very, very intense feeling of anxiety. I didn't know where to place the anxiety. I couldn't remember any dreams that would have particularly set me off in terms of feeling anxious. And I certainly didn't have anything particular going on in my life that was causing anxiety. And yet this morning when I woke up, the very first thing that I felt was anxiety. I was almost getting heart palpitations. It was just a really yucky feeling, to be honest. I felt extremely ungrounded. I felt extremely out of balance. I was 100% in fear mode. I was not myself. And it was a very odd way for me to wake up. I don't normally wake up that way. I feel very good in the morning typically, and just, I always feel like it's a fresh start and a new day, new outlook on life. But this morning, for some reason, and perhaps because it's July the 7th, so it's the 7/7 energy today, and maybe that's amplifying things for me, or more or less bringing awareness to me and to myself. But nonetheless, I woke up with this anxiety and this feeling, and the very first thing that I knew that I had to do was to go outside, sit out on my patio, and just pause and connect with myself. And observe what I'm feeling, and just really tune into myself. And I realized in the very moment of doing that I wasn't in the present moment. This anxiety that I was feeling was definitely coming out of something that that was future related. So in terms of mental or emotional disturbances, anxiety and depression are both linked to. Anxiety is linked to the future and depression is linked to the past. So if you're feeling anything other than peace, you are not in the present moment. And that's what I observed about myself this morning. So I wasn't being present with myself. And then it really took me actually a couple of hours to get settled. And it wasn't until I made a couple of choices to do things differently, cancel some appointments and just rearrange my day until the anxiety subsided. But once I did that, then I knew that was the source of my anxiety. So I want to just in kind of 3 points share some of the things that I observed this morning, and I wrote them down in some notes. So I am going to cheat here because I don't have it all memorized. But the very first thing I was talking about is how to identify if you're in the present moment or not. Well, it's by pausing and observing, as I said. So just checking in with yourself and seeing how you feel. How you feel is actually going to be your biggest indicator of whether you are in the present or whether you're in the past or the future. And this is why it's very important to be clued in about your emotions. And I'm talking about, when I'm saying how you feel, I'm talking about how you feel emotionally, how you feel physically, and how you feel mentally. Like, all of those need to be considered. We can't separate them, right? Like, they're all together. So if you're feeling worried or stressed, if you're feeling anxious about something, or nervous, those are all definitely symptoms that you are not in the present moment, because all of those emotions have to do with lower vibrational energies. They're lower vibrational emotions that we feel when we are not in the present moment. Are you feeling tired, depleted, drained, or distracted? These were questions I asked myself this morning. And the conclusion I came to that, yes, I did feel some of those things. And then I had to figure out why I was feeling some of those things. But as I looked at those things, I also realized that I'm not in the present moment. If I'm feeling tired, if I'm feeling depleted, if I'm feeling drained or distracted, I am not in the present moment. I am not tuned in with myself. Like, what does that even mean, to be in the present moment? It means to be aware of yourself at all times, of how you are feeling, how, like I said, mentally, emotionally, physically. That is what the present moment is. The other piece is, are you feeling resentful, angry, sad, or defeated about anything? All of those connect to the past. That's all unprocessed emotional baggage from the past. So you need to ask yourself, do I feel any of these things? And if I do, then what within my past am I hanging on to? But more importantly, just recognize that in this moment that I'm feeling all of these things, I'm actually not in the present moment with myself. The second thing I want to talk about is, why am I not in the present moment? This is another question I asked myself this morning. Why am I not in the present moment? What has knocked me out of my vortex? What has knocked me out of alignment with myself? And then here I'm going to share some examples so one reason could be because I'm stuck in the past, which is something I mentioned about depression and sadness and anger and those defeated, resentful feelings. Those are all connected to past circumstances and situations that you have already gone through and experienced. Why else would I be not in the present moment? Usually because I'm projecting, looking too far into the future. When we're looking too far into the future, it's absolutely impossible to be in the present moment. And even though we create the future in the present moment, if we're too far ahead though, and constantly thinking about future timelines and future events and what ifs, then I am not in the present moment. Another reason why I would not be in the present moment is because I don't know how to be present with myself. This one I pondered for a moment. So if I don't know how to be present with myself, then what is that saying? It's saying that I'm not used to doing the practices that help me to stay aligned and in tune with myself. So then I ask myself, what do I need to do to tune into myself more? And what activities do I need to do to create that feeling within myself that I am tuned in, that I am focused, that I am aligned with myself? Not anything or anyone outside of me, but myself. And another point I wrote down is because I'm in my head too much. So why else would I not be in the present moment? Well, when we're in our head too much. I know for me, from personal experience, that if I'm constantly overthinking, which I know I have a habit of doing, most of us do, if I'm always overthinking every single situation in my life, then I am no way in the present moment, because I am replaying past events, calculating, figuring out, and overthinking how that's going to affect future events, or how that has already affected future events. Therefore, again, I'm not in the present moment. So definitely many, many reasons. These are just some of the ones I observed within myself this morning, but there's many reasons why we are not in the present moment. And 99.9% of time, it is because of our minds. It is because of the mental energy that we are giving to the past and to the future. Therefore, constantly ripping ourselves out of alignment from the present moment, from the present energy, and just taking in what is in that exact moment. And the third point I want to talk about, or the third question kind of that I want to state, is, how do I actually feel right now? Again, something I asked myself this morning. And when I observed how I was actually feeling in that present moment, the only way that I was able to do that is by extracting myself from both the past and the future. So I just, for a moment, sat there and I pretended like I had no past and I had no future. It was just right here in this very moment. if I am not attaching myself to any of my past experiences or situations or people, and if I'm not attaching myself to any future experiences, situations, or people, then what's left? And how do I actually feel right now in this present moment without my past bullshit and without worrying about the future? How do I actually feel right now? And then observe and see how you were feeling. Because what I found was peace. That is how I was feeling. Without worrying about the past or worrying about the future, without any of that, what was left was peace within me. Because in that very moment, there was absolutely nothing that I needed to be stressing about. So how do I actually feel right now? Remove yourself from past and future, which is what I was just mentioning. Don't judge what you're feeling. And that was the other piece that I had to kind of look at within myself is, can I just observe what I'm actually feeling right now in this moment and not judge it? Just feel it. Tune in and connect to the feeling. What does it feel like? And it can be anything, and it's okay if you're sad in that very moment. There's something to be said about honoring our feelings. It's just that when every day you're resentful and angry and sad and feeling defeated, and every day you're tired, depleted, drained, and distracted, or every day you're worried and stressed and nervous and anxious, then you are most definitely not in the present moment. But we also do feel those emotions sometimes in the present moment when something happens, and our immediate response to it would be to feel those lower vibrational feelings, but we're feeling those feelings because it's our comfort zone. It's what we're used to feeling. It's what I'm used to feeling. I have to reprogram myself. I have to continually work on reprogramming my mind, my reactions, my responses to things and situations and people. I constantly have to recalibrate to bring myself to the present moment. And I think eventually it will become so second nature to be in the present moment that it will require significantly less effort. But for the time being, I have come to accept that it takes effort for me to be present. Not always, but sometimes. Sometimes it takes a significant amount of effort, and sometimes it takes no effort at all. And I'm trying to not judge any of that and just going with my own flow, honoring what I'm feeling, but making sure that I'm not hanging on to or allowing any lower vibrational feelings and emotions to linger. That is how you always bring yourself back to the present moment. Present moment, you just don't allow those feelings to linger. Feel them in the moment, but let them pass through. So connect how you feel. Identify, the last point I want to talk about is identify and connect how you feel about your current life circumstances. So I took a little inventory this morning for myself and thought about my current life circumstances and what I'm dealing with at the moment, and just what is happening in general in my life at this time. Or what is happening to the people that are in my life, because people, family, friends, what happens to them kind of happens to us in a way too. It affects us, right? But again, to keep myself in the present moment, I try to not attach too much to anybody's situation. I observe, I provide whatever guidance I'm able to provide to them and support. But then I kind of withdraw and I pull myself out of it, because it's not my karma. That's not my weight to carry, right? I have to constantly remind myself of that, because as a healer, you have a natural inclination to want to, and a desire to help people and to solve problems. Like, I'm obsessed with problem solving for other people, but it can be to my detriment sometimes if I'm always too involved with external situations or with other people's stuff, right? So this is, again, something that I'm observing and learning to rein that back in so that I can really stay and keep myself in the present moment. But like I said, this morning I took a moment and I just thought about my current circumstances and what I'm experiencing and going through, and And I just allowed myself to have some compassion for myself for it. My only living grandmother this is a very personal matter, but my only living grandmother is dying and has been dying for several weeks now. And it's been really difficult, actually. And I've never even kind of acknowledged it. Not to the extent that I acknowledged it this morning as I sat with myself in the present moment. It's definitely something that is hard to process. It's very difficult to know that she is immensely suffering and there's like nothing we can do to help her. And of course, just observing my own mother. This is my mom's mom, and I'm observing my mother going through this process with her mother has been also difficult. Like I said, what happens to family happens to us, right? And so it really is a challenge that I've been trying to, in a way, sweep under the rug. And I haven't, I think, given myself enough time, and I haven't honored some of those feelings within myself that, you know, that this upsets me and that I'm not okay with the way that things are. However, I also have to just learn to accept. So life is hard sometimes because you know you have to accept certain things. That's just the reality of life. But at the same time, it's fucking hard. Sometimes it's really hard just to accept what is, you know, and there's something to be said just for that in itself, to just accept what is and to sit with that and to sit with how that feels and processing it emotionally. So as I sat with myself this morning, I went through this very interesting process of shedding all of this external stuff that was keeping me from being connected to the present moment. And it has certainly brought me back to myself. I did a meditation. I did some positive affirmations. I did I am affirmations. I've been using those. They've been very helpful. So there's a lot of different things that you can do to bring yourself back into the present moment. If you feel like any of what I said resonated and you're not feeling connected to yourself at this time, or you're feeling like you're often not in the present moment, then I would recommend meditation. It is my primary tool at the moment to bring myself back to my own vortex and remind myself that only the present moment really truly matters, nothing else. And how I feel and how I conduct myself in every moment matters. And it's something I need to pay attention to, because it makes such a huge difference when I do pay attention. And when I don't, I'm really stressed and I struggle to get through my days. But when I can focus my energy on bringing the power back to myself and saying those I am affirmations, like I said this morning, and I repeated it over and over until it resonated throughout my entire body, until I felt it. And I kept repeating and saying that I am in the present moment. I am present with myself. And I went through just this whole list of stuff that came naturally, that I just kept saying, I am this, and I am that. And I am healthy, and I am at peace. And peace was a huge one. I kept bringing myself back to that. I was feeling a lot of anger. Like I said, the anger was coming from this super high anxiety feeling. It was just a really yucky feeling that I felt. So getting through that and basically allowing that feeling to flow through me and taking the time to connect to myself to figure out why I was even feeling that in the first place was hugely important. So I would recommend to you to connect more with yourself. If you are not in the present moment a lot throughout your day, and just observe, try to notice, like, you know, how, okay, just, I'm going to pause. What time is it? Okay, I'm going to pause right now. How do I feel? Shit, I don't feel so good. Okay, why don't I feel so good? Was I just around someone perhaps? Like, what can I do right now to bring myself back to my peace, to my vortex? And just do it. Bring yourself back. And you bring yourself back by saying that I am in my vortex. I am aligned with my vortex. I am at peace with myself. I'm at peace with others. I'm at peace with the situation. I'm at peace with the circumstances in my life. I am at peace, and so it is. It's simple and hard at the same time. Because if it's not a part of your comfort zone, then it's not something that comes naturally. But you can make it a part of your comfort zone by practicing it. This is what I'm doing. This is why I'm sharing. So that's my video for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, if you found it to be helpful, please subscribe and like the video. It is very, very helpful. It gets noticed more and put out there more to other people in front of other eyeballs. So please, please help support the channel by subscribing and liking the video if it resonated for you. Thank you so much. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.